Our next show begins in 5 minutes. This is intermission time, refreshment time. Visit our snack stand for hot dogs and other sandwiches, for ice-cold Coca-Cola, for a variety of ice cream, candy bars, cigarettes. We are here to serve you. You still have 4 minutes before the next show. Why not take a break, have a stretch, and visit our modern refreshment center? You'll find clean, conveniently located restrooms for your comfort. Better hurry. Next show starts in 3 minutes. But there's still plenty of time to go to the handy snack stand for a sizzling hot dog and a refreshing Coke, or for any of the many tempting items available there. Two minutes until the next show starts. The Refreshment Center has plenty of freshly popped, hot buttered popcorn and lots of other good things waiting for you. Drop over now.
For your convenience, our refreshment center will remain open when the next show begins in just a minute. You'll find a wide selection of tasty snacks and beverages available for your pleasure. Sizzling, steaming, griddle-fresh hot dogs in fluffy buns with your choice of seasoning. A large selection of appetizing sandwiches. Delicious, refreshing, ice-cold Coca-Cola. A kettle full of hot buttered popcorn, light and crisp, golden good to the taste. Fresh frozen ice cream and lots of other tasty items. Also, you'll find we carry your favorite brand of cigarettes. Make yourself at home. Enjoy the service of our refreshment center whenever you come to see us. Now, on with the show.
All right, well, hello. There's like nobody here. So, except my dog is paying a visit. So, oh, there we go. We got some people. So, hello and welcome to my live stream, all viewers. Hopefully, I'm coming in loud and clear. Feel free to type out something. Let me know that you're there. Um, hey! Hello, hello! Greetings and salutations to both of you. So, yeah, this is just excellent. This is well, thank you, Curtis. Yeah, so this is just an informal me testing it out, seeing if anybody shows up, and um, just seeing how this whole thing works. If live streams are worth doing, how to actually go about doing them, that sort of thing. I don't really have much planned for this evening. Um, just chatting and Q&A stuff, I guess. And towards the end, I do have some previews, I guess, of upcoming videos that I hope to do. And maybe it's a little bit of actually some raw footage from a trip that my wife and I just took this past week to go have a bit of fun, do a little bit of a getaway. And yeah, I don't know. Hello everybody. Um, and I don't know, see about an hour or so, but we'll see how we get chatting. So Curtis, you love one of my videos. Which one of my videos is it that you love? um, Also, I think I have this monetized. I think I have super chats and stuff enabled, but I'm not expecting anything. Don't feel pressured or whatever that you have to pay me for me to talk to you. I am gonna keep my eye on the chat here and just respond to everybody as best I can. Keep things going. So yeah. So feel free to put topics or questions or whatever you want in there. So this is going to be undirected. I don't really have anything. I'm just basically trying this out. If this works, I do have an idea for another live stream that will be a bit more topic oriented, but we haven't got there yet. So where are we at right now? 5 viewers? Six concurrent viewers. Excellent. Oh, I should show something I got. Well, actually, first of all, the shirt that I got on my trip. Nice little skull Aloha shirt there. And I found like the best socks ever, which are my new King Kong socks. So, I finally got that. Yes, this is a saber-tooth skull back here. Yeah, actually, my set is not set up for me to do videos about monster toys and stuff. My set is actually set up for one of my day jobs. I don't know what you call it. One of the entrepreneurial things that I do is, besides the store, is that I actually do freelance earth science education. I used to work at a museum teaching rock and mineral programs as well as history and some arts and things like that. And then, actually, my wife also worked at this museum. We both got laid off with COVID, and we decided that, well, we have a computer and we have a fossil collection and stuff, so why don't we just do like virtual school programs freelance? And so that's actually what this is set up for. So this is for kids to look at and go, ooh, ah. And socks are important. Yes, thank you. And thank you very much, Jasper. So that's what this is set up for. And then the Ice Age stuff especially is my jam. Because I think in my video on Is King Kong Racist, I actually showed off the book that I wrote, which is actually this one right here. Ice Age in Western Canada by me. Oh, there's my set falling apart now. So, yeah, the Ice Age is my particular jam, and hence why I have a Smilodon skull right there, and I have mammoths and whatnot. But so a mix of various fossils and things, just to have something for kids to look at and go, ooh, ah. Yes, prehistoric stuff is cool. Thank you, and thank you, Jasper, for the science stuff. Curtis, so your favorite was the top 5 favorite Godzillas. Cool, thank you. And love all kaiju monsters from Godzilla movies. All of them all equally? Is it like trying to choose your children? Which one's your favorite? Oh, hi, Rex. Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to take a sip out of my Mickey Mouse mug right now, which I got in Paris a million years ago. So, any other topics of conversation here? Actually, one thing that I suppose I should do a video on at some point, if people dig the science stuff, is up there. You can see all those toys up there. I actually use these for education. Basically, every animal that used to live in my area about 12,000 years ago that has a toy, I have a toy of it that I use for education. So someday I suppose I will actually show that off. Why did they have an ice age? Didn't they like summer? Well, things people like to be chill. Some people are just wired a little differently. Myself, I prefer it more cooler. I mean, I am Canadian, so would prefer more on the cool side of things. There is such a thing as too hot, which is called Florida. So, okay, Curtis, yeah, yeah, Mothra, yeah, King Ghidorah, sure, Rodan, Baragon, Anguirus, Titanosaurus, and Mechagodzilla, yeah, nice. James likes the smile on. Rex asks, "What is the favorite fossil that I own?" That's hard to say because virtually everyone has a story. That the shelf tour, virtually every fossil has a story that goes with it, right? So I like them for different reasons. Because the shelf tour, I mean, this is a cast. Obviously, I don't have an actual a real Smilodon skull. There's only been evidence of one Smilodon found in my province so far. But this rock behind it here, which has ripples on it, those ripples are about 1.5 billion years old. So they're from one of the oldest formations in the Canadian Rocky Mountains, which are the red rocks down in Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. Oh, I didn't take it from the park. I took it from outside the park. So don't collect inside national parks. These ones here are sort of souvenirs of my trip to Arizona. So this is a piece of petrified wood, which I collected from... there's a ranch actually just outside of Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona, where they will let you... Well, either you can buy pieces from them like wholesale price, or they let you collect on their land. So I got that piece. That's my wife just walking in with the dog's tail that you just saw there. And then so that's Triassic period. So that's beginning the age of dinosaurs. And then this is Coconino sandstone. So this is basically a late Permian, so just before the dinosaurs, coastal desert. And on the upward slope of the sand dunes from those deserts, you often find footprints, like trails left behind by reptiles crawling up and down those sand dunes. And so this is a piece of that is from Ash Fork, which is a town just sort of outside of Grand Canyon National Park. What else do I have that's cool? Megalodon tooth that I got actually as payment for doing a lecture one time on Megalodon. So I said, yes, I will do that lecture for you. This is for a Gem and Mineral show. If you give me a Megalodon tooth that I can use as a prop in the talk. So I got to have that. Actually, one of my favorite things here, if I can find it, which drawer is it in, is this right here, which is a baby woolly mammoth tooth. I actually one time at a gem show, I also found a baby mammoth tusk, which I was almost going to buy so I could have the saddest fossil collection of all these baby animal parts. But I didn't go through with that. My wife disapproved. But I love woolly mammoths. They're my favorite prehistoric animal. So I'm glad to have the baby mammoth tooth. Full-size one is far more money than I have. This is not a fossil. This is a rock. But this is a piece of the oldest known rock on Earth. So the oldest known formation of rock on Earth is called the Acasta gneiss. Gneiss. It's from the Northwest Territories here in Canada, and I know the guy who has the mineral collecting rights for the site. So he let me buy a piece of Acasta gneiss, and it is about 4.1 to 3.9 billion years old. That's the oldest known rock on Earth, so I have a piece of that. Yeah, I could keep going with all the various stuff that I have. Love dinosaurs, build snowmen all year during an ice age. Yeah, yeah. What are my thoughts on cryptozoology? Oh, my wife just gave me a piece of kibble to give to the dog. Hello, you. Although she's too. I don't want to go below my desk. Although I see I'm wearing pajamas. Sage, come on up. Yep, come on up. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Hey, this is Sage. She's my dog-in-law. You're very cute. All right, you got another one. Oh, ooh, gross. Dog saliva. Ah, God, just would take my fingers off. All right, there we go. Go for a walk. Go with Ashley. She's like, but you has food. So, my thoughts on cryptozoology is that I think as long as cryptozoological research is done in a proper scientific manner, right? So, if you're actually like carefully gathering data and you're writing up and you're publishing it in peer-reviewed scientific journals and stuff, then yeah, I mean that's how we find out that things exist. I think there are some things where people get a little more carried away with lacking good physical evidence for it. Actually, in my book, I actually have a chapter where I talk about Ogopogo, who is a lake monster that's supposed to live in British Columbia, and talk about Sasquatch as well. But my verdict on both of those is not what a crypto fan would like to hear, shall we say. When is somebody going to clone a woolly mammoth? They're working on it. They're working on cloning woolly mammoths. It's actually one of our best candidates for de-extinction because they have a close living relative in Asian elephants. Those are the closest living relatives to woolly mammoths. So in theory, all you have to do is just take out the elephant DNA from an elephant egg, put in the mammoth DNA, implant it into the elephant, and in 2 years, 22 months gestation, you'll get a woolly mammoth born. In theory, I mean that sounds easy, but they've been working on that now. I mean, 10 years ago they said they were going to have it in 4. So I mean, but I would be all for cloning woolly mammoths because the environment that we have today is very much, it's still an ice age environment. It's just missing here in North America. It's missing all the megafauna, right? So anything over like 100 pounds, basically. With a few exceptions, like 75% of things over 100 pounds, everything over a metric ton went extinct. So, we still have the niches available for mammoths and mastodons and all these animals that were here back during the Ice Age. It's just they're not here. There's an interesting experiment going on in Russia. Maybe. I don't know if it's still going on right now. But there was an interesting experiment going on in Russia called Pleistocene Park, where they were reintroducing large animals, so bison, horses, things like that, to a paddocked area in Siberia to see if the presence of those large animals will restore the tundra to a cold grassland, steppe grassland. Because basically once these large herbivores went extinct, the tundra took over the steppe grassland, which was a very productive environment. So see if they can restore that. They bring back the herbivores. So basically it's like, yeah, clone mammoths and reintroduce them to like Siberia and Alaska and Yukon and that sort of thing. And, that might actually, there's still a place for them, right? So they're really good candidates for de-extinction. I don't think it would go all Jurassic Park on us. Only problem is that there's a lot of animals we actually can't bring back either, right? Like we can't bring back giant sloths because the closest living relative to giant sloths are the small little tree sloths, which aren't going to be able to gestate a giant sloth. So some of them are extinct permanently, but mammoths potentially could be brought back. And I'm enjoying that this is turning into a science discussion right now as well. Queen, you have some chihuahuas, cute. Kaiser says Bigfoot is for real. They have the Peterson film. Well, what I try to do with my book on that subject is I talk about how, Sasquatch seems like a perfect Ice Age animal, right? Like it's this huge megafaunal ape, right? It would seem to fit perfectly in a world of woolly mammoths and American lions and giant sloths. But is there a light that paleontology could shed on the existence of something like a Sasquatch? And the fact is that the fossil record that we have for hominids, so humans and our ancestors, there is like nothing like a Sasquatch at all. It's like the opposite of that. So like things like a Sasquatch, based on the descriptions and the popular image of them, would seem to be something like an Australopithecine, except Australopithecines were like half the height that they say Sasquatch is, and they never left Africa, like stuff like that, right? So I say from a paleontological perspective, the case is not good for Bigfoot. Here's a Loch Ness monster. How accurate do I like my dinosaurs in movies? There's a reason film 65. I have not seen 65, so I can't vouch for it. It's always tricky because our knowledge of dinosaurs is never complete, right? So the best you can do is based on what science knew at the time. And so the most accurate film, most accurate dinosaur movie based on what science knew at the time is still The Lost World from 1925, because those dinosaurs are basically just Charles Knight paintings brought to life. And because of the technical limitations at the time, and I'm going to do a video about this at some point, because The Lost World was actually like my favorite movie before Kong kind of overtook it. But because of the technical limitations of stop motion animation at the time that Lost World was made, 1925, when it was released, they couldn't do a lot of scenes of the dinosaurs interacting with people. So what you get are a lot of scenes of dinosaurs fighting other dinosaurs. So you get like this ecological movie with like the little people on the side, because that's the best they could do. Well, so Brian could do. So like you get these scenes of these dinosaurs, which are like Charles Knight paintings brought to life, that are interacting with each other and doing like ecological behaviors. So The Lost World from 1925 is still the most accurate dinosaur movie ever made, based on what science knew at the time. The dinosaurs in King Kong are pretty good, based on, again, on what science knew at the time, because it's the same team made those dinosaurs as made the ones in Lost World, as well as O'Brien and Marcel Delgado. Jurassic Park was, I mean, even at the time, you know, they were the most realistic dinosaurs in terms of how they were able to present them, using very realistic special effects. Like that T-Rex looks like, mwah. Those dinosaurs all look great as far as realism goes. But they were also inaccurate at the time from what we knew about things like, T-Rex locomotion, about, dromaeosaurid skeletons, so the raptors. Dilophosaurus being able to spit and have their frill and stuff, that's like all pure make-believe. So it's like, again, it's sort of like the balancing act. I mean, the best stuff's like documentaries, right? Like BBC documentaries, where they CGI up some dinosaurs and stuff. So it's like, for new stuff, I would like it to be as accurate as possible. All right, I think that's, to me, what's most interesting. But if we're talking like nostalgia and like monster movie type stuff, I do like the old school stuff like The Lost World and King Kong, things like that. 65 is an okay film. Well, that's good to know. Is a Sasquatch a Neanderthal? Neanderthals were just really robust humans. Like there's nothing really like exceptional about Neanderthals as far as that goes. Like they weren't like big, hairy ape caveman things. If you were to see like a Neanderthal walking around today, you might think they look like they're really like rough, because they would have like more pronounced brow ridges, a wider nose, more robust jawline. But they would look like a person, right? Like they would, based on the nightclubs you go to, that might look normal. So, it wouldn't be a Neanderthal. Sasquatch, like I said, would, the description in the popular image would look something more like a highly derived Australopithecine. If you think like Lucy, the famous Lucy find from Africa, she's an Australopithecus afarensis. And then like the Australopithecine lineage broke off. One chain was Homo, so like our ancestors, and then the other chain was the Australopithecines, which were more like bipedal gorillas. If you think like Australopithecus robustus, So it would seem like a Sasquatch would be like an Australopithecine, except Australopithecines never left Africa. They didn't last too much longer after Homo like our genus was around. So, and our genus were omnivores, virgin to carnivore, is our ancestors as well. New T-Rex from 65. So you have dinosaurs. 65 is about someone who gets stuck, or 65 million years ago. Yeah, well, that makes sense. There's actually a TV show that I started watching for an episode and a half. La Brea. Right? It's basically like the sinkhole forms of La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, and these people all get sucked in. And an episode and a half in, like I figured out, yeah, they went back in time to the Pleistocene, to the Ice Age, but they hadn't figured it out yet. I'm like, okay, well, if you see woolly mammoths walking around, you can't figure out when you are. That's on you, and I can't watch the show anymore. Willis O'Brien also did special effects for King Kong like Joe Young. Yep, that he did. Favorite dinosaur documentary. There's that new one that I actually haven't seen, which I should. Planet Dinosaur, I think it's called. It was the one that had like the scene of like the T-Rex swimming and stuff like that. It's just because my opportunities to see stuff from like BBC is like really spotty. So I want to see that one. Sentimentally, my favorite series of dinosaur documentaries are the Walking with Dinosaurs series. So Walking Dinosaurs, Walking with Prehistoric Beasts, Walking with Monsters, and like the Nigel Marven ones, and then the fiction show Prehistoric Park are all kind of in that same universe. I really like those. I know what's wrong with the dinosaurs and stuff in them a lot, but overall, I think they're great, and they were great for like presenting dinosaurs just as animals, right? The episode on the Triassic period takes place like Petrified Forest. That's like my go-to episode when I'm feeling like nostalgic for Petrified Forest. See episode $6 Million Man where Andre the Giant played Bigfoot. I have not seen that one, actually. I haven't really taken it on myself to watch the $6 Million Man. I saw it a bit when I was a kid, and the Bionic Woman. And then when I was a kid, of course, there was also the Bionic 6 cartoon, which I only found out like in my adult life is actually a spin-off of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. But I haven't actually seen that episode with Andre the Giant as Bigfoot. Watch Prehistoric Park. Yeah, Prehistoric Park is a really good show. Did you ever see Terra Nova? No, I keep confusing that with Earth 2. But no, I didn't see Terra Nova. Let's see, Land of the Lost. That's another one where I haven't actually taken it upon myself to watch that. I don't have all the time in the world. So, when I'm going brainless, I just watch YouTube, and when I'm actually focused on stuff, I either want to watch like movies, like go back to the stuff I know and love, or whatever. So I committing to watch an entire TV show, even a TV show I like, is a bit of an ask for me right now. It's going to be a new Lost World remake. That is a show that could always be remade. Because you can just keep improving the dinosaurs. Like every couple of decades, just make a new one to improve the dinosaurs in it. The problem with it, and I love it, Lost World, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite movies, and was both for quite a long time. I would still say that the Lost World is my single favorite novel, but it's a 1912 novel and very much steeped in concepts of sort of British colonialism and exploration and stuff like that, which doesn't bother me because I can have a historical perspective that's what people thought back then, but a lot of people don't have that. So that makes it a difficult sell, and so each more modern adaptation of it, so like the one from the 90s, the one from the early 2000s, tries to massage that in some way or another. They also tend to even the 1925 version, had to add a woman into it, because the original novel is just like four dudes, four Victorian a-holes in pith helmets, going around doing stuff that Victorian a-holes in pith helmets do. So that tends to not be as resonant either. So a lot of adaptations will make one of them a woman, or they'll add a new woman character in there. do lots of different things with varying degrees of success. Which is to say, not often. My favorite, I think the best version is still the 1925 version, because I think that's closest in spirit to the original Lost World. The first episode of the BBC one from the 2000s with Bob Hoskins as Professor Challenger wasn't the worst. Second episode went off the rails. First episode wasn't the worst. The 60s one and the 90s one are a thing that happened. Woman Turner was a good show. Lost World been lots of times, yeah. Conan Doyle wrote The Lost World. He also created Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, in fact, he wrote The Lost World to get away from Sherlock Holmes. Because that's a case where the creator hates their creation. So Conan Doyle, he makes Sherlock Holmes. He wants to write a story or two, and ends up becoming hugely popular to the point where he's being like, that's all people want from him is just Sherlock Holmes. So he tries to kill off Sherlock Holmes so he can write other stuff. Public won't let him. He ends up bringing it back, but his interests start turning to other things. And one of the things he turned to was The Lost World, and writing Professor Challenger, who he actually felt much more of a close kinship with that character. And he would even impersonate the character. So he would go out in public with the Professor Challenger costume on and interact with people and test out that character. And in the novel, the original novelization, the original novel, there's an apparatus of drawings and photographs and things like that to give it sort of documentary feel. And in the photos, Professor Challenger that's Conan Doyle dressed as Professor Challenger in those photos. The Irwin Allen version of Lost World, yeah. It is what it is. If you go into it I love The Lost World by Conan Doyle, then yeah, one might not get as much out of the 1960 version of The Lost World. It's just modernized and they change a lot of things and it's lizards and frills and that sort of stuff. But if you like those kinds of movies, then yeah, I could see why you would love the 1960 Lost World. And there was a Lost World TV series. Yes, there was, which also went off the rails. That was a weird time because that was a time when I was running a Lost World website, which actually I still have. It's still out there. If you want to Google silent movie monsters, The Lost World, and you'll find that site. But I was really big on the original novel and the original silent film. And then suddenly in the 90s, there were all these kids who were into this TV show. And it's well, I'm feeling like an old man now. So, and it's just those cases of different fandoms intersecting over different things, right? Star Wars, original trilogy fans versus prequel fans versus sequel fans, if there are such a thing. You get those things, just not as necessarily as pronounced with stuff that The Lost World, where there's 24 fans of it. Conan Doyle's writing about himself. Yeah, Professor Challenger is a bit more like who Conan Doyle wishes he could have been. The character is based off of a few people that Conan Doyle knew, including an old professor of his in medical school. But much more amplified as this character who doesn't give a rat's butt about sort of social niceties and polite society and things like that. Conan Doyle wasn't himself like that, but he definitely was this is sort of a fun character I wish I could get away with being in real life. But yeah, someone like Professor Challenger would not get very far in Edwardian England, just as a social personality. What time I have? Read any of the sequels starring Challenger? Yes, I have read the sequels. So 1913. So Lost World published 1912. 1913, Conan Doyle writes The Poison Belt, which is an apocalyptic story in which the Earth passes through this sort of cloud of poisonous ether, and because Challenger is so smart, he's able to recognize what's going to happen, and he's able to prevent it. So he pulls the boys from the Lost World together and saves their lives. And then they have to go around post-apocalyptic London now that the poison ether has killed everybody. So it shows like sort of what Conan Doyle's plans were, is this idea of like, well, let's take these characters, instead of just doing another, like they go back to the Lost World, let's take these same characters and put them in different like crazy science fiction situations. But then he went on hiatus for a long time. 1926, he does a spiritualist novel called The Land of Mist, where he uses Challenger to sort of promote his spiritualist beliefs, so like seances and ghosts and that sort of stuff. And that was not very well received. The public was very much like, this is just Conan Doyle preaching at us. And nobody likes that in their fiction. So that was not very well received. And then after that, he wrote sort of 2 short stories to kind of like apologize and rest the character. That was The Disintegration Machine and When the World Screamed. And so, yeah, I have read all of those. Like anything with dinosaurs, I hear ya. Other dinosaur movies. There's Lost 25, King Kong 33, 1 million BC, 1940, yeah, Unknown Island, Beast 20,000 Fathoms, Gorgo, Godzilla, 98, Jurassic Park, yeah, Gorgo, it's one of your favorites. The Dinosaurs in Lost World TV series scenes on your channel. Oh, cool. I'll have to check out your channel, Curtis. Probably don't think much of fictional dinosaur species in Peter Jackson's King Kong. At least there are dinosaurs compared to the Dino De Laurentiis remake where they just a giant snake. Yeah. I have an upcoming video where I talk a bit more about this, which I'll talk, do previews at the end. Right? Yeah. The Peter Jackson's King Kong is flawed as it is for lots of reasons. I haven't done a video about it, and I don't really intend to, because I want to try and keep things generally positive on my channel. But yeah, they're dinosaurs at least, but they're also, because they're made up dinosaurs, I find them less interesting. I would rather have like a T-Rex that's maybe slightly inaccurate, but still like a T-Rex, as opposed to just like a made-up copyrightable T-Rex. So yeah, it kind of diminishes the interest of like, Peter Jackson wants to explore Skull Island, and I get that part, right? Like who wouldn't want to spend more time in that world of King Kong and on Skull Island? It's one of the reasons why I have like a digital collection of the old publicity photos from the original King Kong, because they took those models and made all sorts of neat little scenes that aren't in the movie. So it's another way to explore that world a little more deeply. So I get the impulse to want to explore Skull Island more. It's just that when you take it from being dinosaurs to being made up fake movie monsters, that kind of diminishes the interest of it. It's like, okay, so is your world of fake made up movie monsters? So, I don't know. Like, it's kind of a weird nitpick of mine, but yeah, and then the De Laurentiis version gets rid of dinosaurs entirely. So there you go. Version 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch. She was stunning. Yes, she was. And sadly, yeah, passed away recently. Yeah, I mean, 1 million years BC is a classic. Anyways, it's sort of like the, each era has its big dinosaur movie, and the mid-century post-war film, 1 million years BC, is definitely the big one for that. So, yeah, raise a toast to Raquel Welch. Where are we at here? 750. Okay. Well, this has been fun and chit chat. I don't know. Should we do the previews, the coming attractions now? What do you say, chat? Saw a poster from the movie. Well, that's not a bad thing to look on, to be able to see around every day. All right, well, let's do the coming attractions here. So let's see if I can get this thing working. Okay, so common attractions. So these are some videos that I'm working on or have already finished and are just waiting in the queue. So first of all is this trip that my wife and I took this past week. I had a work-related thing just to the north of Calgary here in Edmonton, which is the home of West Edmonton Mall, which has an amusement park inside it, which is currently being rethemed to Hasbro. So we visited that, and I'm actually going to play for you here. It's about 4 minutes long, but it's the raw footage of one of the rides. So I haven't edited this or anything. This is just straight off of the camera here.
Monopoly train, Monopoly train, Monopoly train. Oh no, we're rolling! Woo woo! Check it, check it, check it, check it, check it, check it. Oh, the Play-Doh play space. Oh, it's My Little Ponies. Oh, the Monopoly tunnel. Mr. Pennybags! That's a rather unconvincing barrier there. The former mascot. Look how angry that guy over there looks. The green guy. Hmm?
Turn the wrong way.
Yeah.
Is that a ride?
It's a
Actually try
thing. We might have, yeah. Oh, there's the G.I. Joe ride. Or attraction thing. Game thing. Oh, that's where they moved the rope thing. It's gonna have to become the Dungeons and Dragons wagon. Yeah. Oh, really? All the little greenhouses.
Red Hotel?
Red Hotel. The bank. Oh, it's for Pennybags. Got in jail.
I have really turned the wrong way. Here we go.
Giant Mr. Potato Head.
Thank you.
The biggest Mr. Potato Head I've ever seen. Oh, I'm back past My Little Ponies. A little rough there. Oh, and got the money at the end. Yay, we're rich. That's not how I usually end a game of Monopoly.
No, me neither.
Okay, so there we go. Yeah, so that's the Monopoly Express ride, where you ride through the game, which was actually surprisingly enjoyable, considering that neither my wife nor I actually like that game. Um, but I do like the graphic design in it. It's great. Monopoly has great graphic design. Just not a lot of fun, and definitely not the board game that we go to when we're playing board games. But yeah, that's one of it. The mall is in the process, as you saw, of Hasbroizing itself, and so that's what the video is going to be coming up here. Also, it's a mall, so you might have seen some of my posts about some of the fun little guys that I picked up while at said mall, like Pigmon here, and this awesomely bad Godzilla, squishy bootleg Godzilla figure, which is going to go in my collection of terrible Godzilla toys. He's going in that. So that's one upcoming video here. And then another video that is coming up here is how I would fix the Monsterverse. So I mentioned I wanted to keep things kind of positive on my channel, because as some of you who know me in real life are on this watching here, know that I can get very opinionated, and so I'm trying to keep things positive. So instead of just complaining about what I didn't like about the Monsterverse, I'm going to try and be positive and say things I did like. So I didn't dislike all of the movies, and just how I would improve some of the stuff that I didn't really care for. So this might end up being a series of how I would fix the whatever thing I don't like. But in this case, yeah, it's just how I would repair some of the things I thought were flaws in the Monsterverse movies. And then there are, of course, more of my This Movie Is So Great series coming up. So not necessarily in order, but here we go. So, Plan 9 from Outer Space, why it's almost great, because Plan 9 is a strange movie where it's not the worst movie ever made. It's almost brilliant. It's almost a fantastic movie. It's just that when it fails to be fantastic, it fails hilariously. So that's sort of a weird thing to unpack if I do in that video. Why The Blob is so great as this the strange movie that just for some reason I now I really love. It's actually one of my favorite movies. I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but there we go. And why Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is so great, because it is a great movie that rarely gets the credit that it actually deserves. So I wanted to give it some of the credit as being one of the most important films in Disney's catalog, in Disney's history, as well as being one of the most influential science fiction films of all time, and especially for the 1950s, 1960s, the atomic era of science fiction. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is one of the most important movies of the genre, and rarely gets any credit for that. And then one that I would imagine a lot of people are waiting for is why the Human Transformation series is so great. So this is continuing on with the Toho movies. This is what I know people have been waiting for, because most people who are subscribed to my channel are subscribed for my kaiju videos. I am aware of that. I do see the stats on who watches my videos on Ghostbusters and Transformers and stuff, which is not very many people. So I do know that it's all about the Toho, all about the Japanese stuff, the kaiju and whatnot. So I'm going to be doing this video here on the Kaijin, the Human Transformation series. So that's more of the uh, movies that I like and why I like them and why I think they're super duper great. Just catching up with some of the comments here. Glad to see you all talking about that. What are your thoughts on the new Godzilla from Toho coming out this year? Also, have you seen the poster for the recent Gamera anime Netflix series? Um, I mean, for the Toho, the new Godzilla movie, sure. I mean, we'll see what happens. Um, I haven't disliked the new Godzilla movies. I mean, Shin Gojira is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like, Shin Gojira is amazing, regardless of genre. That's one of my go-to movies for like this. If you want to understand like Japan, modern Japanese film, or like kaiju movies as actual art, like not just monsters stomping around, guys in funny costumes, but actual like these are serious movies about serious topical issues that can be done really well. Like Shin Gojira is my go-to. I did like the Netflix anime trilogy for Godzilla, and I did like Singular Point. Um, I wish I had watched it again before uh, Netflix decided that people weren't allowed to share their accounts, things like that, because we have sort of a deal worked out amongst the family about who pays for which services. Um, and it's pretty saucy for Netflix to try and curtail people sharing when their entire business model is slightly easier than pirating. um, but I did enjoy Singular Point as well, so I don't see why I would automatically dislike a new Toho Godzilla movie. So yeah, I mean, we'll look forward to that. See what it is. I mean, who knows what it is, but I don't see why I would dislike it automatically. I haven't seen the poster for the new Gamera series. I haven't really gotten into Gamera. I couldn't tell you why. I just haven't really sat down and watched them and really understood like what the thing is that I'm supposed to get out of it. Like I like Imagine, I like yokai monsters, like I like a lot of other stuff. Just for some reason, Gamera hasn't like hit me like to that point where I understand it and get it, and that's what helps me like it. Which I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I haven't reached that point yet of like understanding what it's about and what its appeal is. Um, Human instant vaping, the human vapor, yeah. So much great non-kaiju Japanese monster horror as well. Yeah, I would love to eventually do videos about things like Onibaba and Kwaidan, yokai monsters. And like my favorite Japanese ghost story is Yotsuya Kaiden. I've watched like almost every version of that story. So I'd love to do some videos about those as well. Get around to it. I mean, I'm not in a rush to. I was in a rush once my channel started like taking off and becoming popular, thanks to my Japanese King Kong video and my non-Godzilla Toho movies videos, which are like the most important things I've ever done with my life for sheer reach of how many people it's reached. I did get this like, oh my gosh, my channel's blowing up. I gotta put content out there, and I was doing it every couple of days, and it's like I can't do that. So it's like one a week is good enough. Yeah, he's a Godzilla fan. Rock's King of the Monsters. Oh yeah, another non-kaiju Japanese films, not horror films, but I also like to do some on like Toho's sort of historical and religious epics. So like the Three Treasures, films like that. I'd like to do video on that as well. Hanna-Barbera's Godzilla. Actually, Monster Island Buddies just did a video about merchandise from the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla series, just like yesterday or the day before. Favorite Ray Harryhausen film? Probably going to say First Man in the Moon. As I will allude to with my 20,000 Leagues video, I love Victorian science fiction. I have all these weird little pockets of things that I like, and they don't necessarily intersect. So, like, I mean, we just spent the good first half of this live stream talking about the science and educator side of things that I do. The channel is mostly like mid-century monsters and horror and retro horror stuff, tiki things and whatever. So it hits that side. But I also have a blog on Victorian science fiction. I actually have 4 published anthologies of Victorian, like rarely reprinted Victorian science fiction stories. So I love Victorian science fiction, and I love atomic age Victorian science fiction movies. So like 20,000 Leagues and Around the World in 80 Days, Journey to the Center of the Earth, First Men in the Moon, Time Machine, movies like that. So I'd say favorite Harry Haas would probably be the First Men in the Moon. What's for Hell? Godzuki. Yes, he was. Remember the Godzilla series from Fox Kids? I didn't. I know about it. I didn't watch it because I didn't like the '98 Godzilla. I was 21 or so when it came out. Yeah, around there. Trying to remember how old I was at the time. I was old. I was old enough to know better. So I did not actually like the '98 Godzilla, so I didn't see any point in watching the cartoon of it. Heisei Gamera trilogy, okay. Best kaiju films out there from the director of GMK. I will see if I can. I will see if I can see those sometime. Going to space in a diving bell. Yep, pretty much. All right. Well, now what are we at for time here? 8:07. So, what do you say, team? Did you have a good time today watching this? Do you think you would be interested in another live stream down the road a little bit? '98 Godzilla is hilarious. There are like no Roland Emmerich movies I like, for reasons that are what they are. And I think I talk about this in my Monsterverse video. It's and especially movies that he does on topics I know about, like 10,000 BC and Day After Tomorrow, which are all about like the Ice Age and climate and things like that. So even though like mentally I know that the '98 version of Godzilla is canonically Zilla the monster, not Godzilla, and I relished in Final Wars when Godzilla took out Zilla rather quickly, but it's still I just can't. I mean, and no offense if you like it. If you like it, great. I'm glad you enjoy it. I do not. I can't, even knowing that it's not Godzilla, it's just another monster, I still can't. I can't get into it just because I don't like Roland Emmerich's movies. Just really good. All right. Well, you know what? Because I've been thinking about this. Independence Day should have been a comedy. Yeah. Well, who says it wasn't? Right. So I've been thinking about what to do for another live stream. And I've enjoyed shooting the breeze, and might do this again. But also thought, maybe having a topic involved. So I was thinking for another live stream of one of my favorite topics, which is King Kong. Just shooting the breeze and talking specifically about King Kong. And so I was thinking some content for that. As something a little bit special for it, but that might actually end up evolving into his own video. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if you guys are up for it, then maybe like towards the end of April, beginning of May, maybe if we do like a live stream monthly or something like that, have a chit chat about King Kong, and then maybe like each subsequent one have a different topic, right? So talking about Godzilla, talking about Universal Monsters, talking about I don't know, Hasbro theme parks. I don't know, whatever. I think the next one having a big open discussion about King Kong, if that works for everybody. So towards the end of April probably, and I'll post it like a week before or something like that. We'll see. Maybe if Thursday night still works for people, because we've got about 13 people right now. Which is more than I was expecting, actually. So that works out, and everybody's liking the idea of King Kong. So great. I think shall we reconvene in April at some point, and in between we'll look out for those videos that we previewed. Oh, I can hear the dogs back, so I better get off the mic here. So thank you very much, and let's 90th anniversary of King Kong. So yeah, let's just play a little good night video as we all drive out of the drive-in here. So thanks for showing up, and yeah, we'll do this again at the end of April.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.